Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Incoherent Report. This week's episode, I'm going to be talking about something that's kind of personal to me. It's about being childless by choice. It's a trend that's seen a lot of growth here in the last 20, 30 years. And with the dismal state of the economy, it's actually contributed to that over the last 5 years. Some quick statistics that I'm going to point out, and then I'll go into my reasonings behind it. 2004 U.S. Census noted that women aged 15 to 44, 44.6% were child-free, and that was up from 35% in 1976. Now, that covers 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and the drop in teen pregnancy rates likely has an effect on that. So, do with you what you want with that information. 2010 U.S. Census, men and women aged 40 to 44, 20% were child-free, and that was up from 10% in 1979. National Center for Health Statistics noted that in 1995, 6.6% of women declared that they were voluntarily child-free, and that was up from 2.4% in 1982. Studies also shown that in regards to women, that the higher their income, the less likely they are to have children, or the more likely they are to have fewer children, and that nearly half of women with an income of $100,000 or greater are child-free. Now, being child-free was a decision that I came to early on. I was in my 20s, decided, kids aren't for me. I don't have the patience for them, and, they just don't do it for me. I just don't have a desire to have kids. And, let me start by saying right now, before I offend anybody, if you have kids and you're happy with your decision to have kids, more power to you. I'm not going to dog that decision on you at all. If that's worked out for you, great. I'm happy for you. I'm just talking about, my feelings about kids and then my reasons behind not having children. I got married to a girl that didn't want children, and that was, one thing that worked out well for us. And we actually had a pregnancy scare later on in our relationship, and that kind of opened my eyes up to having a vasectomy. We'd been talking about it for a few years, and that just kind of brought it up to the forefront. So then I went out and had a vasectomy, and that was, I don't regret that decision at all. That was the greatest decision I could have ever made. And I am very happy and very comfortable with that decision. And, I kind of look at it now because she and I got divorced. If she and I had had a child, I'd be tied to her for, for the rest of my life. For sure for the next 18 years. But, for the rest of my life, she'd have some sort of involvement. And, that I'm just so happy I don't have to deal with that. So after I got out of that relationship, and I started looking to get into a new relationship and meet somebody new, not wanting kids was one of my deal breakers. People always tell me, oh, you'll change your mind as you get older, or, you may meet a girl that wants kids. And if you end up in a relationship with someone that wants kids and you don't, there's going to be a good chance of some resentment there, from one side or the other. If you guys never have kids, then there's a possibility that the other person is going to resent you for, never having kids, taking that away from them, whatever. Or, if they talk you into having kids, then you end up with kids that you didn't really want. You kind of grow to love them and, you get used to them. But why should you have to learn to like your children or get used to them? I don't quite see the point in that. So, that was one of my deal breakers, and I met a girl that, had no desire to have children, and that's worked out very well for us. And I've heard from people saying, oh, it's you're selfish for not wanting to have children. You're selfish for not wanting to, for only thinking about yourself. And for me, that's kind of not really the issue. Yeah, I like being able to do what I want when I want, not have to worry about, getting a babysitter or packing some kid along with me. But, the fact that I don't have kids has allowed me to rescue animals out of the local animal shelters. And, from a financial standpoint, it's great. Dogs and cats do not cost what children cost. For feeding my dogs cost me $50 a month. You try feeding a kid on $50 a month, it's not going to happen. But that was something that I was able to do. Is someone brought these animals into this world and then abandoned them, and that being without children has allowed me to give them a new lease on life. It's something that they give to me, and I'm able to give to them. I gave them a new lease on life. I gave them a warm bed, steady meals, and I get to take them out and play with them, walk with them, and run with them, and just have fun with them. They've done a lot for me. And animals are, on a cold winter's night, you're holed up on the couch, having a dog curled up with you while you're watching a movie, watching TV is, just one of those great feelings. And my girlfriend has a dog, and, having pets is actually, something that has allowed our relationship to grow. It gives us another opportunity to, do a different activity together and build our relationship around that. She can bring her dog here, and my dogs get along great with hers. And, we can go on walks with them, take them to the dog park, take them hiking. We can do any of that with our dogs. And so it just adds a new dynamic to it, and it's made it really enjoyable. And in all honesty, my dogs listen better than most kids do. So and the dogs don't talk back. Granted, you look at a lot of people's dogs and they don't listen and all that. Well, my dogs actually listen because they've actually got a fair amount of training to them. So now with kids, you people say, oh, who's going to take care of you when you get older? Well, my response to that is look in retirement communities, retirement homes, and look at the numbers of people that have children who don't come and visit. And you want to talk about being selfish, expecting, you raise kids and unleash them upon the world and expecting them to come back and care for you when you're older. Talk about being selfish. So, that's my kind of take on that is, why should I burden someone else? Why should I burden my children with when I'm older? If I'm paying someone to take care of me when I'm older, I'm paying them for a service. You don't pay your children for a service. So, the who's going to take care of you argument is kind of cheap. My sister has a child, and he's 2, and he's really getting mobile now. He's running around. He's starting to talk. Most of it I can't understand. And you just kind of nod your head and say, yeah, sure, bud. But, playing with him, I've gotten all kinds of enjoyment out of that. And I know as he gets older, I'm going to be able to pass on a lot of the things that I know and that I would have passed on to my own children. I can pass on to him. And, so I'm able to do that. I've done some coaching for baseball, and I can pass that on to him. I can pass that on to other kids. I'd love to get into being a high school pitching coach. So, I can give back without having to have kids of my own and, having that burden. I look at kids as being a burden. Yeah, there's a lot of fun times, but there's a lot of rough times with that I don't want to subject myself to. I don't have to deal with dirty diapers. I don't have to deal with crying, screaming kids. I don't have to deal with a fussy kid that, hasn't had his nap yet, so he's going to be a pain in the ass. I don't have to deal with that. And so, for me, it's worked out really well. I'm able to go on vacation. I took a trip to Boston last year, and I took my dogs over to my vet and boarded them for the week that I was gone, and they were well taken care of there, and I could go off and do what I wanted to do, and then I could come back to my life, and I didn't have to, take a child with me, or, if I want to go out to dinner, I don't have to arrange a babysitter. So, it's one of those arguments that you can go back and forth on. You'll never convince the people that have children that not having children is the way to go, and you'll never convince someone like me that having children is the way to go. I figure whatever works for you, take that route, run with it, enjoy it, never look back and have no regrets on it. I don't have any regrets. I don't think I could have made a better decision than the one I've made. So, make your decision. Go into a decision knowing what you want out of life. And, if having kids in your life is what you want, then have kids. If not having kids is, what you want, then don't have kids. It's not a whole lot to it. You look at it, what you want out of life and what you feel your purpose is, being here. My purpose for being here is not to procreate. Now, a lot of people will say, that's why humans are on this earth, is to procreate. And, if that is not my sole purpose for being here, I can give a lot back to the human race without having children. I can give a lot back to, the planet without having children. And, I think that argument kind of cheapens even having kids. If that's your sole purpose for being here is just to have a child, then you might want to reevaluate your life and, what you are getting out of it. You're not really having a fulfilling life at that point if, you feel that's your sole purpose for being here. So, for those of you that are child-free, there's a group on Facebook called Childless by Choice, A Couple's Guide to Remaining Child-Free. They have a Facebook page. They have a website called the Child Free Project. Let me bring that up. It's the let me find it. It's childlessbychoiceproject.com. So check them out, and their Facebook page is Two Is Enough: A Couple's Guide to Living Childless by Choice. It's a woman that did a lot of research in childless singles and childless couples, and their reasonings behind it. She's got a book out about it, and it's really neat when you get into reading some of the reasons and some of the statistics behind it. So that's where I'm at. Like I said before, if you have kids and are happy with that decision, then great. I don't have a problem with that. Go about your life and live it as you feel you need to live it. It's just not something for me. As always, I welcome comments, criticism. Just keep it civil. Our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Incoherent Report. If you want to see videos every week, I update them every Wednesday. Hit subscribe, and it'll cover a range of news topics, sports, just hot button issues, anything that pops into my head. And you may get something like this that, I was reading something the other day and the idea just kind of kicked in my head. So until next week, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.